Alright, I don't usually get to see this. Because when usually someone would usually see this, one has to stay late or get up very early. Or get up very early.
And we're going to go up to Carbondale. Sorry, not at 6. The 6-hour ride this afternoon.
Yeah, down to Carbondale?
That's what it is, yeah. That's what this one will...
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Nice.
Well,
how many do you have that are operational?
We have one steam engine, and right now they're working on diesel electric.
Yeah.
There's another diesel electric that we are allowed to use at the launch through Historical Society.
Okay. Got it. So just one steam that you're running.
Yeah.
That's probably enough work.
Yeah, the amount of work. If we weren't the federal government, we wouldn't be running these every weekend and stuff.
The last place that we were at that had one that was running, they said that the amount of regulation that exists to operate them is crazy.
Well,
you have to pretty much...
I mean, they're there for a reason. I mean, all the rules are written in blood.
Yeah.
These things are they require... There's a reason why we don't run steam anymore.
Yeah. It said that every 10-ish years you have to practically disassemble the boiler and reassemble it.
Everything. You have to, because they undergo such extremes of temperatures and pressure. You gotta make sure everything's like every time we operate it, whatever comes in at night, you gotta check every nut, bolt, everything.
Yeah.
Every single one.
So it's a lot of work, so I can see why you only have one run.
Yeah. Back in the day, you know, this city was a city of 400,000 people, and if you didn't work in the mines, you worked in the railroad.
Sure.
So whenever these electric came along, they realized we're gonna commit to the electric.
Yeah.
yep. I used to come back. I've come here for so many years. My steam train experience here goes back to the days of when an engine like the one just across from here,
Yeah, 54.
yeah, number 3254 was operational.
Yeah. That was in the last 12 years, maybe.
Yep. It ran up until 2012, and I was lucky enough to actually be on its final excursion that December.
Wow. Yeah, it's a shame, but they require so much work that it's just not. And they don't. It's not like we can pull the parts off the shelf anymore.
Correct.
And
When you can't find it.
yeah, we need the right material. We need the right dimensions. If we don't have the drawings, then and if we need something, then how we can make it. And then there's stuff like the couplers, like stuff that you can't just fabricate. That's gonna be forged as is, because as soon as you get a block of solid block of steel, you start milling it. You start it loses its temper, so you can't guarantee its strength. So
Unless you have a heat treated after you're done.
yeah,
But
all that. But I mean, yeah, exactly.
How long have you been working on this?
They don't. What's that?
How long have you been working on this?
About 3 years now.
Okay.
I'm a locomotive engineer. So.
Oh, okay.
Mechanics. Yeah,
Got it. So you're just, okay, so you're not actually a mechanic?
No,
Got it.
I'm a mechanic now.
Okay.
Today I'm working as a fireman. That's the guy who tends to fire.
Yep. How many guys are in the engine when you're going on a trip like the one today?
We got a time we want to have at least 2 firemen.
Okay.
Because it's too much work.
Yeah. So 2 firemen and an engineer? So 3 of you?
Yeah.
Yep. I always thought that the third guy in here was often a pilot engineer. I often thought that when I usually would see this go by and would usually see 3 guys in here, I thought that the third guy was often a pilot engineer.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, but usually the pilot engineer is someone who would sit behind the engineer, kind of, pointing out the areas, especially if you're operating on Delaware-Lackawanna trackage, just to, because...
Extra set of eyes is a lot of...
Yeah, because sometimes you're not familiar with the territory, so...
That's it.
So it would be like you have 2 additional guys up there, One's a foreman who's in charge of the division, and then another one is a pilot engineer. Well, and this is actually interesting. I'm actually seeing the locomotive being fired up for once.
Yeah.
Usually
Time.
I would usually see it wind down, but not actually fired up.
Yeah. Yeah. We're leaving later today, so usually we try to do that before everybody else gets here.
Yeah.
Usually done by the time the park opens, we're on the turntable.
Yep. I don't know if you can actually see it. Oh, yep. No. You can kind of see the glow.
Hey.
Whoa, easy on him. Yeah, you can kind of see the glow. And you can see the steam rising. Kind of see glow. I'm going to read on a little bit here. Locomotive number 26 is the only typical switch engine in Steamtown's collection.
The thing, the water just came out, the hot water.
Yep. But it's the only locomotive with a slope tender built in 1929, which that means, Adam, it's 97 years old. And it worked as a small switch engine at the Eddystone plant at the Baldwin plant in Eddystone, Pennsylvania. After years of service in 1948, it was sold to Jackson Iron and Steel Company of Ohio. Before it was retired in 1959. It then was trucked out to Toledo, and it was renumbered free for the Nickel Plate and Mad River Railroad Museum. And in 1990, it officially came here.
I still can't believe we're going to be running this thing all the way up until 9 o'clock tonight.
But imagine if they allow us access to the building. This building that we are in, so we can see it being put away at night. And of course we got the Baldwin Locomotive Works 60733, and it was created in March of 1929.
Any questions?
You guys wanted it? Are you done or are you starting?
We're starting. We're going to go on an excursion today. We're going up to Carbondale.
wish it had a different whistle on it.
Ah, well.
As soon as we heard the whistle, I was like, yeah, gotta get over here. Sorry if I'm in anyone's shots. Well, there it is, Eddie Stone's finest. Or should I say Baldwin's finest.
Runs like a Swiss watch these days.
It's a very unique steam engine because it's the only steam engine that I know that was not... Over there, yeah.
That's the money place. You have to.
Ready? Alan, you ready?
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh no, they're going. Oh, okay.
Don't let you forget stuff.
This is our crew. Anyway, this is our crew. Yeah. Only 2 cars today. The train only has 2 cars.
I'm one of the Rangers here at Steamtown. I'm going to be doing a little bit of talking while we're on the trip here today. So I just want to give you a little bit of a safety message here. We're not departing for a little bit yet, so I'm just kind of giving you just a little bit of the lay of the land. First and foremost, a couple of safety messages here. My brain stopped. Sorry, guys. I've been here since 9:30 this morning. It's a long day. Thank you, Randall. Okay, so it is a little stuffy in here. So first and foremost, feel free to open the windows. But the big thing is if the windows are open, do not put anything out those windows. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No hands, no heads, no siblings, no cameras. Nothing goes out the windows. The reason for that is there's several close clearances along the line. We don't want you to catch one of those by mistake. And also, note the very pronounced edge along the edge of the windows there. These windows are 100-some years old. There is a possibility they could fall. They're not known for doing that, but the possibility exists. We call them guillotine windows for a reason. Do not Marie Antoinette yourself, okay? All right, second safety thing. While we are in motion, please do not stand or move around the train unless you have to get to the restroom. The reason for that is because the train could stop abruptly, and if you go down, it may not look like it, but these floors are made of concrete, so it will hurt. If you do have to walk around the train for some reason, make sure 3 points of contact, 2 feet on the ground, 1 hand on a seat. That gives you extra stability if the train were to jolt for any reason. For those of you who this matters to, I know some people get motion sickness while trains are moving. We are going to be moving this way being towards the back. We're going to zigzag a bit when we come out of the yard, and then the train is going to push us up to Carbondale. So the section that has the engine on it is going to be the back. The part without the engine is going to be going forward. If you're somebody who gets motion sickness going backwards, do keep that in consideration. The seats are reversible. And then when we return, the engine will be in front, we'll go the other way. The reason for this is we're not going to have enough time in Carbondale for them to run the engine around from one end to the side to the other. So it's easier just to push us up to Carbondale.
And it's easy because it's a short train consist today.
Exactly.
If we had all the Central Railroad New Jersey cars, then we would need to have to put the engine on both ends.
Yep. And finally, last thing here is the upholstery is on the older side, so please do not put your feet up on the seats while we are in motion. Okay, thank you very much. I will pop back in and remind you guys of this in a little bit. We are departing at 3:30, so until then, make yourself comfortable. Thank you.
Here to the 26, over. Stand by for guest highball. Baldwin 26, highball west.
Baldwin 26, highball west.
Wait for it. There we go. Does anyone know what that means? That term, actually. No. Besides a drink. All right. So originally, railroad signals, before we had different signals and radios, one of the things they did, especially, there's one of these still existing up in New Hampshire, they actually lifted a ball up in the air so that way the engineer could see it. If the ball was in the high position, that meant they had permission to go ahead. Hence the term high ball, which also, nice drink. Yes. All right, next stop, Carbondale.
2 blasts the whistle and we are off. Welcome everybody, welcome on board our journey here to Carbondale. I'm going to be talking for the first part of our trip here just to give you a little bit of a background and some safety information and that sort of thing. The first part of our trip here is going to be a lot of zigzagging in the yard. So get used to forward and back, that's what it's going to be like for a good portion of the beginning of the That is what you call trespassing. racing, guys. Do always respect the do not cross signs in the yard.
Why somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually just came off of a trip from Pittsburgh, and that is a former Monongahela Alco.
Yeah.
Is he? Oh, yeah. I guess this is the extent of a... And I guess this is the extent of a repaint.
So a little bit about the history of this line right here. So at one time there were 5 railroads here in Scranton, Pennsylvania. The largest and most famous of which was the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western. We are currently on the tracks of the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western. We are crossing over Bridge 60 right now. If you're afraid of heights, don't look out the window. If you're not afraid of heights, do enjoy the view. At this point, right here in Scranton, 4 of those 5 different railroads all met at this spot. Up here on the bridge, we are on the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western. That track you see down below us next to the road is the Delaware and Hudson. Across the Lackawanna River here, you'll see a bike trail. That was at one time the Central Railroad of New Jersey. And if you look to the north, which, if you're facing the locomotive, would be to your right. If you're facing away from the locomotive, it would be your left. If you're in my car, that way. You might be able to see an old brick building with a turret on it. Not the one with the brass, with the copper-colored turrets. That's a church. Not the one with the belfries. That's also a church. The one that's all with the boarded-up windows and that. That's the old station of the Central Railroad of New Jersey. Right there, the CNJ line ended, and the New York, Ontario, and Western began. If anybody's wondering, the 5th railroad in Scranton was the Erie. But the point is, we're going to be traversing the tracks of 2 of these railroads today. We're currently on the DL&W, but after we zigzag through this yard a little bit, we're going to move on the old main line of the Delaware and Hudson.
Yep, on the line of...
Delaware and Hudson is the oldest of the railroads here in Scranton. It wasn't the first in town, but it is the oldest itself. It was chartered in the 1820s originally as a canal company to connect the coal fields around Carbondale, Pennsylvania to the New York City market to move the anthracite coal. The problem with that, there are mountains in Carbondale. Canals don't like mountains. So they ended up building a gravity railroad between Honesdale, Pennsylvania, and Carbondale, where they would basically hoist the coal cars up a hill and let them roll down the other side to get to the other side, to get to the opposite destinations on the line. This would eventually grow and expand into a normal full-size railroad. And the Delaware and Hudson would work its way all down the Lackawanna Valley here, building coal mines, coal breakers, and owning actually a good number of the coal mines here. I believe they were, at one time, probably the 2nd largest mine holder here in this region, behind the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western. And we're going to be going to pass very many sites of these old coal mines on our trip here today. Keep an eye out for dirt or soil that looks surprisingly black. That's probably the site of a coal mine. If you look out the same side that the Central New Jersey station was, as we go across Bridge 60 here again, you'll see there's a parking lot over there. That's the Lackawanna Transportation Center right there. It's the city's bus station today. Across the street from that is where the Delaware and Hudson passenger station once stood. And we're going to be going on the rail line that goes right past where that station used to be. That's how we were able to connect to the old D&H line via cutting through that parking lot right there. It's also really fun when we get to cross Lackawanna Avenue because we get to stop all the traffic.
That's going to be the track that we need to get onto. So we're going to zig...
Our train that we're traveling in today, these 2 passenger cars we have are old commuter coaches from the Central Railroad of New Jersey. If you've ever been to Liberty State Park in northern New Jersey, right across from the Statue of Liberty, there's an old train station there. That's the old eastern terminal of the CNJ. These cars would be used to bring commuters into that station, where they would then be ferried across to New York City. Our locomotive locomotive is a little switch engine built by and for the Baldwin Locomotive Works of Philadelphia. Its number is 26. Its color is green. Why is it green? I'm not really sure, but my favorite theory that I've heard is that because Baldwin was a builder of locomotives, and most North American locomotives are black, they made it green so they could look out the window and know which one was theirs. This engine was built in 1929, so it's a little over 90 years old, and it is going, let's see here, it received a complete operational restoration that finished up in 2016, and it's been our little workhorse engine here ever since. We're off. Welcome everybody. Welcome on board our journey here to Carbondale. I'm going to be talking for the first part of our trip here, just to give you a little bit of a background and some safety information and that sort of thing. The first part of our trip here is going to be a lot of zigzagging in the yard, so get used to forward and back. That's what it's going to be like for a good portion of the beginning of the... That is what you call trespassing, guys. Do always respect the do not cross signs in the yard.
Yeah. Actually, just came off of a trip to Pittsburgh, and that was a former Monongahela outpost.
Oh yeah.
I guess this is the.
It took me a minute to recognize the steam.
And I guess this is the extent of a repaint.
So a little bit about the history of this line right here. So, at one time there were 5 railroads here in Scranton, Pennsylvania. The largest and most famous of which was the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western. We are currently on the tracks of the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western. We are crossing over Bridge 60 right now. If you're afraid of heights, don't look out the window. If you're not afraid of heights, do enjoy the view. At this point, right here in Scranton, about 4 of those 5 different railroads all met at this spot. Up here on the bridge, we are on the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western. That track you see down below us next to the road is the Delaware and Hudson. Across the Lackawanna River here, you'll see a bike trail. That was at one time the Central Railroad of New Jersey. And if you look to the north, which, if you're facing the locomotive, would be to your right. If you're facing away from the locomotive, it will be your left. If you're in my car, that way. You might be able to see an old brick building with a turret on it. Not the one with the brass, with the copper-colored turrets. That's a church. Not the one with the belfries. That's also a church. The one that's all with the boarded-up windows and that. That's the old station of the Central Railroad of New Jersey. Right there, the CNJ line ended, and the New York, Ontario, and Western began. If anybody's wondering, the 5th railroad in Scranton was the Erie. But the point is, we're going to be traversing the tracks of 2 of these railroads today. We're currently on the DL&W, but after we zigzag through this yard a little bit, we're going to move on the old main line of the Delaware and Hudson. Yes. Delaware and Hudson is the oldest below Bridge 60. I pointed that out a little bit ago as the Delaware and Hudson line. Once we go across the parking lot, we're going to be heading down towards that track. So if you're on that side of the train, again, that's this side.
There's a bike trail down there.
If you're facing the locomotive, it is the right side. When we come down the hill there, you'll be able to see that track rolling up alongside of us. Because the engine is pushing us today, all my directions are all mixed up, so I apologize for it being a little ramshackle there. I'm so used to the engine going forward. This is a learning curve for me. Yes, they're upgrading the bridge here a little bit.
Yeah, because I noticed that the last excursion, they're putting new crossings.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the purpose. I think it might have to do with the Amtrak project, but they are trying to upgrade the turnouts around the bridge.
Yeah, because
I don't know the exact plan.
yeah, me neither.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Me neither, because I do know for a fact that Amtrak wants to bring Amtrak service here, and I don't know anything else about it.
It's a low
Hopefully eventually.
Gravity early railroad between Honesdale, Pennsylvania and Carbondale, where they would basically hoist coal cars up a hill and let them roll down the other side to get to the other side, to get to the opposite destinations on the line. This would eventually grow and expand into a normal full-size railroad. And the Delaware and Hudson would work its way all down the Lackawanna Valley here, building coal mines, coal breakers, and owning actually a good number of the coal mines here. I believe they were at one time probably the second largest mine holder here in this region, behind the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western. And we're going to be going past very many sites of these old coal mines on our trip here today. Keep an eye out for dirt or soil that looks surprisingly black. That's probably the site of a coal mine. If you look out the same side that the central New Jersey station was, as we go across Bridge 60 here again, you'll see there's a parking lot over there. That's the Lackawanna Transportation Center right there. It's the city's bus station today. Across the street from that is where the Delaware and Hudson passenger station once stood. And we're going to be going on the rail line that goes right past where that station used to be. That's how we were able to connect the old D&H line via cutting through that parking lot right there. It's also really fun when we get to cross Lackawanna Avenue because we get to stop all the traffic.
That's going to be the track that we need to get onto.
We're going to take our train that we're traveling in today. These two passenger cars we have are old commuter coaches from the Central Railroad of New Jersey. If you've ever been to Liberty State, really nice view of the parking lot. It gets better, guys. Don't worry. I promise. Fun fact here, you're going to see a bunch of cars and trucks with like little trailers on them in this parking lot. That's because we have an enthusiast group known as the New Jersey Track Cars in the area here today. These guys take track cars, which are basically like little motorized carts that travel on the rails. They were used by maintenance way crews. These guys collect these things, fix them up, and then take them out on like club rides out on railroad tracks. They're going out the Pocono line to Delaware Water Gap today, so this is all of their, carrying trailers in that part here. If you come back for our Rail Fest in 2 weeks, they will be on site and giving rides.
Yeah. Good. I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll be back in 2 weeks for that. Okay. Now that I know that they're going to be here.
Yep, they'll be here. Both days, right, Megan? Good.
It's kind of interesting, and a vintage train going right past a modern bus station.
All right, we are now approaching Lackawanna Avenue, so the train's going to stick on the line. Be sure to wave to all the motorists. We're making late. We are now officially on the Delaware and Hudson tracks, and at this point, we have some special guests on board the train here today. We're going to be having both a living history program and a trivia program. If you guys are up in the front car, the 1157, I'd like you to introduce Cindy and Kathleen from the Lackawanna Historical Society. They're going to be doing a trivia program for you guys. And back here in the 303, that's the car where I actually am, we're going to have our two living history characters. I'd introduce them by their names, but I forgot to get who their characters are. Well, I know Julie and Carl, but I don't know who their characters are. You don't recognize them? Yeah. Yep, so you guys are good to start whenever you want, and enjoy the trip, guys. If you have any questions, just grab one of your car hosts.
Well, nice to see all of you here today. My name is Julia Gallen-Silchek, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my life here in the Lackawanna Valley. And when I get finished, I actually brought some really cool pictures of the area that you just passed, Lackawanna Avenue and Wyoming Avenue, around 1902, 1905. So if you want to chat about that, I can do that. First, like I said, I'm going to tell you my story. I am Julia Gallic Borzilchak, and I was born in 1880. And when I was born in 1880, I was born far away from here. You couldn't get there from here by train. I was born in Hungary. And by 1900, when I was 20 years old, I met and married a very, very handsome gentleman named Alex Borzilchak. And Alex and I got married. And shortly after we were married, Alex said, you know, I think we need to move to America. And that's what everybody was doing at that time. They were all leaving the places that they lived and coming here because they thought that there was going to be this great life here. So I packed up everything that we had, and Alex and I sold whatever we could because we knew we were going to need all the money. And what we didn't sell, we gave to our family that stayed behind because they needed too. I said goodbye to my mother and father, and I never saw them again. I never made it back to Hungary. Alex and I boarded a ship, and we set out for the United States. The first place I saw when I got here was New York City. Now, if any of you have ever been to New York City, you know it's a very scary place. And when you're 20 years old and you don't even speak the language,
I think that's
it's absolutely frightening. Now, Alex and I didn't stay in New York City very long. We came here and we settled in a little town that you're going to pass along the way called Mayfield.
We're going to film this bit.
After we got to Mayfield, Alex thought that we should move again. So I packed up everything again, and Alex and I moved to Dunmore. In fact, when you get by the Steamtown Avenue Railroad tracks down here, that was our neighborhood. Now, Alex worked in the mines. And for those of you who live in this valley, you know that working in the mines is a very, very dangerous, dirty job. And for the kids here that are on this train, back in my time, young ladies like you would be working in the silk mill, and young boys that were your age would be working in the mines also. So we lost a lot of our family members doing this horrible job. Now, Alex would come home every day, and he was absolutely filthy. He was so dirty from spending all day in the mine that I couldn't let him in the house. So what I would do, we had a closed-in back porch. What I would do is put clean clothes out on the back porch for him, and a bucket and a towel and something he would have to wash off before he came in the house, because he had all this black dirt all over him. And you know, not only was this whole valley covered with this black dirt, and Alex, every day when he came home, all of the men working in the mines were also
Oh, there's a dog.
this black dirt. And
There's a high railer.
the mines didn't kill you or cause you to get hurt or injured back then. This black dirt, which was called pneumoconiosis or black lung, took out a lot of miners many, many years later. They died trying to breathe, basically suffocated to death, because all of this black soot consolidated in their lungs.
Okay, we are now beginning to make our way across over to the Delaware and Hudson line, so you're going to get a really nice view of the parking lot. It gets better, guys. Don't worry. I promise. Fun fact here, you're going to see a bunch of cars and trucks with like little trailers on them in this parking lot. That's because we have an enthusiast group known as the New Jersey Track Cars in the area here today. These guys take track cars, which are basically like little motorized carts that travel on the rails. They were used by maintenance and weight crews. These guys collect these things, fix them up, and then take them out on like club rides out on railroad tracks. They're going out the Pocono line to Delaware Water Gap today, so this is all of their, carrying trailers in that park here. If you come back for our Rail Fest in 2 weeks, they will be on site and giving rides.
Yeah. Good. I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll be back in 2 weeks for that.
Okay.
Now they know they're going to be here.
Yep, they'll be here. Okay.
It's kind of interesting, and train going right past a modern bus station.
All right, we are now approaching Lackawanna Avenue. So. Be sure to wave to all the motorists. We're making. We are now officially on the Delaware and Hudson tracks, and at this point, we have some special guests on board the train here today. We're going to be having...
Good afternoon, folks. How are you? Hey! Having a good time? Yeah. It's a much better breeze today than it has been. Wow. It's Robert Morrison. Have you ever heard the name Oliver before? Where? There's a town named Oliver, isn't there? It's named after my older brother, George Calvin Oliver. See, both of us were presidents of the Delaware and Hudson, the Gravity Railroad and Canal Company. He was for about 11 years in the middle of the 19th century, and I was from 1877 until 1903. So he got it named after him before I had a chance to even become the president. Now, the D&H Railroad, the Delaware and Hudson, was a railroad that was built to transport coal over the Music Ridge, which is the ridge where the Casey Highway runs. The reason they had to do that is because there are 4 major fields of anthracite coal in Pennsylvania. Anthracite being the hardest and the cleanest burning of all the types of coal. Well, that northern field where you are right now had 3 fields to the south of them that all used Philadelphia as their market. But by the time we could get coal from this northern field to Philadelphia, it was saturated and we couldn't sell our coal. So they decided they'd take it over the Music Ridge and then down to Holmesdale, and then they would get it further to another market. Now the way they did that was because there are no, at this particular,
This is the shops for the Delaware Lackawanna.
there were no locomotives on the tracks and railroads in North America. So how do you think they got it over the ridge?
Ooh!
They built
Look at that!
steam houses consecutively higher and higher on the ridge, and then winch it up with the steam engine, and then let it close down to the bottom of the next rise, and even that until they got it across the mountains.
got a D&H.
Why do you think they were taking it to Homestead? That's not a big market, is it? New York. They built the canal from there to the Hudson River and floated it down into New York, and they had themselves a very lucrative new market.
Oh, these are from Canada. The Quebec Ore Line.
Yep. In the United States. Well,
during the time that I was president, or just as I took over the presidency of the railroad, there was a point, a big
Reimagine home care.
to Carbondale. They couldn't build the tracks returning to Carbondale straight down, so they had to zigzag the tracks back and forth across the face of this bridge. The very bottom one had a wide turn that brought it straight back into the yards in Carbondale. That was called Shepherd's Crook. The only way I knew about this place was because I lived with a family that told me about it, and when I checked it out, it turns out that about a mile north of Simpson, which is a suburb of Carbondale, there is a huge waterfall that is absolutely gorgeous. It's in cataracts. There are about 10 cataracts. Absolutely gorgeous. It was so pretty that on Sundays when we didn't run coal, large organizations or schools or families would rent the train to go and visit those waterfalls at the end of Shepherd's Crook. That point became the most visited spot in the entire United States between 1850 and 1900. So when I took office as president,
This used to be a yard here.
institute new passenger service for hire. And they used to advertise in the New York Times that you could take a ride to the Music Highlands and back to New York. And how much do you think that excursion cost when we first started the $5. From New York through the mountains and back to New York in a single day for $5. What train ride can you take now for $5? You didn't even get to take this excursion for $5. So I think we were doing pretty good back then. So that became the most visited spot from 1850 to 1900. Also in 1899, the first branch that ran from Carbondale to Holmesdale was switched over almost overnight to a larger gauge track so that they could then start running locomotives on the tracks with the trains. It was becoming more and more expensive to support the system that they had with the gravity house and down to the canal. So they decided to turn everything else over to locomotives on the track. Does it?
When you get my railroad tracks down here, that was our neighborhood. Now, Alex is working the mines. And for those of you who live in this valley, you know that working in the mines is dangerous, dirty job. And the kids here that are on this train, back in my time, young ladies like you would be working in the silk. Young boys that were your age would be working in the mines also. Plus, a lot of our family members do this horrible job. Now, Alex would come home every day, and he's absolutely filthy. He's so dirty, spending all day in the mines, that I couldn't let him in the house. So, what I would do, we have a closed-in back porch. What I would do is put clean clothes out on the back porch for him, and a bucket and a towel and something. Before I'm done, he's worshiping in the house. All of the black dirt, all over. And you know, not only was the whole valley covered with black dirt, and Alex every day when he came home, all of the men working in the mines were also
There's a dog.
black dirt. And
There's a high railer.
Black dirt. Took out a lot of miners many, many years later. They died trying to basically suffocate together because all of this black soot consolidated in their lungs. So Alex worked in the mines, and he worked to mean that I had an easy ride. I also had to work because we had 7 children. And that really, I was doing kind of decent because I only had 7 children. A lot of ladies in the neighborhood had many, many more. And what they would do is, like, I worked as a midwife, and then
These are not the historic stations of the Delaware and Hudson. They were constructed by the respective towns to give us a place to go to on these excursion trains. seen one back in Oliphant, one in Jessup. The station that was in Dixon City, though, actually is a historic station. It has an old historic caboose right next to it.
Lost your bill already. Dropped it.
I'm sure you know.
I don't need Archibald. With the original stations that were on this line, the original stations, would they be very similar to these stations, or they would be something different?
I'm not sure. It really depends where they were. You can probably find that out.
Notre Dame Club.
I apologize for the various breaks in my talking here. As you notice, 26 is very loud, and trying to talk over it is a bit of a losing battle. So I usually take a break when we go through crossings. Anyway, this wooded area we're going through right here is going to be one of the areas where you can definitely see the old route of the New York, Ontario, and Western Railroad. This will be off to the left of the train. Today it appears as the Lackawanna Heritage Valley Trail. So you'll be able to see that through the woods to the left of the train here as we're working our way up through here. The New York, Ontario, and Western, or the O&W as it was also known, was the last of the railroads to come into the Lackawanna Valley that came through here. It was constructed to connect New York City, Ontario, Canada, and points west. The problem was, is they built it so late that there wasn't really many places left for it to go. So it more or less followed the same route as the Delaware and Hudson, just far less efficiently. The hills were tighter, the hills were taller, the curves were tighter, and the travel was slower. A lot of people nicknamed it the Old and Weary, or Old O&W. And when these railroads did eventually start to lose their, customer base in the 1950s, the O&W was the first one to really go down. In 1957, it declared bankruptcy and was liquidated, as in they took all of its assets and sold it to pay off its debtors, or creditors, I should say. That is unusual in the railroad world. Normally when a railroad fails, a bigger railroad absorbs it and takes on its customers and all that. The O&W was built up in so many areas that already had railroads, they just sold a lot of the thing. That's why a majority of its old route is abandoned today. But thankfully, a lot of it was made into really nice rail trails, like the one that we're getting to see right here.
Kind of warm that too. Yeah. Okay. Oh, maybe Baltimore.
Erie Mining Company of Minnesota.
And then let it coast down to the bottom of the next line, and then continue that until they got it across the mountain.
We are DNA.
From there to the Hudson River, and floating down into New York, they had themselves a very
He's in Canada. The Quebec War Line. Yep.
Well, during the time when I was president, there was a point, a big
Imagine home change.
back in home.
just one for most of it today. But if you keep an eye off to the side on pretty much any section of the train, you'll be able to see some old remnants of when the system was much larger. If you keep an eye off to the left through this section here, you'll probably be able to catch some glimpses of some telegraph poles. These are the wooden poles that look like telephone poles like you would see in town today, but they were exclusively to carry telegraph lines that the stations would use to talk to each other with Morse code. You might also see discarded railroad ties, some old rails, and occasionally a signal box, which signal boxes are little concrete pads with a steel box with a door on them, kind of similar to what you'd see at a traffic light. And usually they don't have anything in them anymore, but those are all left over of the old infrastructure of the Delaware and Hudson. So keep an eye through this area, and also along the O&W down below us, you might be able to see some of their old infrastructure too. Signal boxes, telegraph poles, and the like.
Definitely gonna match when you ride that train right off.
As I mentioned, the Delaware and Hudson was initially a gravity railroad, meaning that the cars literally rolled down the track to get to their destinations. And they also built that down this valley before the current line that we are on today was constructed. So if you keep an eye off to the right, there's several points along here, but you'll be able to see that flattened spot that almost looks like a dirt road through the woods. That's the old route of the gravity railroad that was owned by the Delaware and Hudson. It would have joined into this rail line down near Oliphant. But you can kind of see where the right-of-way went through this area as well. It'll always be off to the right of the train, so if you're on that side of the train, just keep an eye in the woods. It's pretty easy to spot.
Oh my god. Nope.
Right, the borough of Archibald was founded in 1876 and named for James Archibald. What was his claim to fame in Carbondale? So, Archibald was named after him.
I don't even
Named for
know.
something in Carbondale. Anybody want to take a guess? Yep. Guess so. No. What was his job in Carbondale?
Banker.
He was the first.
I lived here all my life.
We're not really going to go through German. There isn't a German station on here, but we do go past it. So you'll be able to get a glimpse of it when we come up to the next overpass here. And then we will be moving into the town of Mayfield. One of the more interesting towns that we go through along the route here because the railroad more or less cuts the town in half. We go through the town on a small elevated grade. Aside from the crossing that we are now approaching, that's why we're slowing down. There's a speed restriction through this one because it's hard to see us coming. But after we get through that crossing, the railroad's going to be on an elevated grade going right through the center of town. We're going to be going over all of these tiny little bridges that, we barely notice up here on the train, but they're very noticeable all through Mayfield and literally cuts the town in half. When we go over each of these bridges, if you keep an eye out of the train, you'll see that it was very clearly two tracks at one time. So there's usually a bridge span that we go across, and then there's usually an empty one on the other side of us. I believe it's usually on the right side.
Oh, good.
So, do enjoy that as we go through. I'll tell you a little bit more about Mayfield once we get in.
Literally in the neighborhood.
It's the lake at Blackwell State Park, correct? Did I know the name of the lake at Blackwell State Park? question from German.
It probably will be.
Known for it, thanks to that
Wow, pretty nice. And look, what you got?
German. Here's another German question. German had the first female mayor in Lackawanna
Oh, it's next to an Asian restaurant.
What was her name?
Oh man. When you pass by a restaurant, you wish you could just stop the train. Some Chinese food. What beer was that?
can see the D&H more or less just passes right through Mayfield, but the O&W, which we were paralleling for quite some way, had a much more, here's one of those little bridges I was talking about. Oh, the abandoned size on the left. Don't worry, there's plenty more where that came from. But the O&W had a much larger presence in this town. On the other side of town, it will be to the left. You can't see it from here, and there's not really anything to see. I'm just trying to give you a geographic area here. Not really necessary, guys. There's no crossings. So, anyway, the Mayfield yards were located on the other side. This was the large classification and switching yard for the New York, Ontario, and Western Railroad. It was like the only place in the valley where there was enough space where they could build themselves a yard. Because the Erie and the Lackawanna had massive yards down in Scranton, and in Carbondale was dominated by the Delaware and Hudson. So here in Mayfield, the O&W built theirs. So when the O&W went bankrupt, the yard basically was filled with trash and became a scrap yard. It remained that way for decades until eventually the company was sold, or I can't remember if it was the company was sold or if the county told them, we're trying to look at this, clean it up. But they ended up clearing out a whole bunch of very interesting industrial relics from that scrap yard, some of which eventually wound up at Steamtown. So when you come to Steamtown, you probably notice our coal hopper cars. There's one right in the center of the complex. There's one on that little freight consist out by the parking lot, and there's one out in the disembarking through the same steps that you came on. So if you're in the 303 with me, you're going to be going forward to disembark. If you're in the 1157 up front with Carl, you're going to be going back to the center doors there. When you disembark, one very important thing. If you are not coming back with us for any reason, you need to tell us. Specifically, either myself, or if you're up in the front car, please tell Steven. Steven, if you could please wave so that everybody knows who you are. Back here in the 303, you guys see me. So tell one of us if you are not getting back on the train to go back with us. The reason this is so important is because if we don't know that you're not getting back on and we count somebody's missing, we're going to sit here looking for somebody who's not getting back on. So it's very important. If you are coming back with us, disregard all of that. But if you are going to be staying in Carbondale for whatever reason, please tell us. The train will be departing. Hold on a second. 30, 40 now. The train will be departing at 7:30. Boarding will begin again at 7. You are going to, once we get there, you're free to go and explore Carbondale and Pioneer Nights and that, but do be back at the platform around 7 to get back on the train. We will, if we rescue somebody, we'll wait, but we can't wait forever. It's a long walk back to Scranton. They'll also be sounding the whistle at some points to warn people that we are boarding. So please remember that. When you do reboard the train, we do ask that if you could try to keep to the car that you were on board when you came out. If you guys can see me, you're on car 303. If you guys see car 11, you're on car 1157.
Next stop in a few minutes will be Carbondale, Pennsylvania.
If you guys wish to leave some of your belongings on board the train, you are allowed to do that, but you probably won't be able to access it during the layover. So, before you leave something on the train, be sure that you can live without it for 2 hours. On board the train, you are allowed to do that, but you probably won't be able to access it during the layover. So, before you leave something on the train, be sure that you can live without it for 2 hours. Finally, you don't have to close the windows. You're still going to need ventilation on the way back. And I know these cars are a little dark. don't worry, we're going to put up lights during the layover, so you'll be able to see on here on the way back. That's all I have to share here, so we're going to be maybe 5-10 minutes out from Carbondale here. Enjoy the rest of the trip, and enjoy Pioneer Nights. Thank you.
That was a fun ride. Steam train looking at a strip mall. We are going back. Here we are, we're pulling into the Carbondale station. That was... Yeah, I'm back. Yep, ringer is on. Yep, my ringer is on. As soon as the guy blows his whistle. Oh, we made it. We made it. This is how it gets its water, a fire hose. Fire. Oh. adding calcine carbonate. It helps the boiler from getting clogged with limestone, with lime scale. Fire hose. Seen a grease gun up close. Never seen a grease gun up close. Wow. I don't know what he's doing. Don't know what he's doing.
Clearing the moisture out of the air tank so it hooks the airline up to the grease gun.
Oh, good. Yep. Hello up there. Whatever you do is don't put your finger in it. Yeah. Whatever you do is don't. Close it every second.
Where's that? Oh, friend, it starts with the governor.
What do you do?
I'll continue to care in a second.
What do you do? Don't put fingers.
Once it takes a load on the air, it'll get out of that cycle. The type of governor that's on it, it's actually made for a bigger engine.
All right. Do the grease here.
That's yours, guys. Right here. Right. Whatever with the top.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's a big grease gun.
I know. Don't know what pounds of grease this locomotive would take to oil it.
On a normal weekend, I'd say probably about a pound and a half.
Yeah. I always say to people, whatever you do, just don't put your finger in there.
Oh, exactly.
Dangerous stuff.
Got away way to contact them and shut the water? Got a way to tell them to shut the water and the water doesn't flow. Yes.
Oh boy. Let me guess, the water tank is overflowing. Oh! Oh no! Whoops! 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 Oh no! You know where it's gonna go? It's gonna go. Basically, we just made a little mini waterfall back there. Alright. Got that. Give it a try. That was good. It's all oiled.
access into the water? Otherwise, someone shut the water.
Yeah, who's on the hydrant? Oh boy. Oops. It's a demonstration of the slope back.
So, just going to go over a refresher on some of the safety stuff for the return trip. Again, once we are underway, please do not stand or walk across the train unless you need to get to the restroom, in which case, if you must do that, remember, 3 points of contact, 2 feet on the ground, 1 hand on the chairs. That will lessen your chances of falling. Second, windows are welcome to be open. Do not put your arms, heads, hands, cameras, anything out those windows. Emphasis on this rule because I heard some of you guys in 1157 had a hard time with that rule on the way up. So, please, nothing goes out the windows. Third, it's dark. So if you notice above you, we have installed some LED lights. The old original lighting equipment on these cars is no longer functional. So we are making do with these LED lights here. Some of them are adjustable, so you should be able to, like if it's in your face and you want to point it somewhere else, you should be able to do that if you have one in your seat. Please keep them on though. Yeah, please keep them on though. We do need the light. There are also lights in the restrooms and in the vestibules. If you need to use the restroom, there will be lights available there as well. Once the sun goes down, it will get dark. So keep that in mind. Again, please don't put your feet up on the upholstery. It's 100 years old. We want to keep it nice. And I think that's pretty much all there is to it. We're not going to really be doing too much talking on the way back because once it gets dark, you're not going to be able to see anything anyway. So just kind of enjoy the ride.
Nice hat. Nice hat.
Yes, so we'll be enclosed at 5. So basically, the parking lot, the gate will be closed, but we'll pull up the
Oh, good. Lantern. That will come in handy. would see a Burger King from a vintage steam locomotive. Never thought I would see a Burger King from a vintage steam locomotive. Or just a modern day strip mall. The people in that mall are now going to wonder what's coming at them in the air. Oh, we're going pretty fast now on this. Notice that we're going a bit faster. Crossing the bridge. Oh, there's a big orange. Oh, wow. Look at those. Wow. Look at how good it is in here. Wow. This is good.
It's still going to get very, very dark.
Hello there. Hey there. Nice 765 hat.
I don't want to lean back because I
I love the smell of the smoke. I'm enjoying this way back.
Yeah, thanks. That doesn't help anybody.
This is the attitude that I have. Like, don't make me.
You're rubbing it in.
Sorry. 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 this up here, I will slide over and I will give you this seat and I'll just sit here in a little bit. That is a nice area down there. Hey guys, how you most of the windows are stuck in this position. I see a pool, a house Oh, that's the entrance to the mine. That's the entrance to the mine area. Whoa. Trying to keep it in. the car now. Look at the inside of the car now. saw a back. I saw a back. Yep. This is the time when we usually take Peanut out for a walk. That's when usually the bats start to come out. Racing us. This Toyota is racing us. Oh look, there's a couple cars chasing us. Hey! Beep 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 beep. That's a former warehouse. Now it's an apartment complex here in Dixon City. Do you see that, Mom? Coming up is the depot for Dixon City, and look what's right next to it, a Japanese restaurant. Spectacular. Talk about a view. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. Holy cow. Look at that view over there. Wow. It was really the lack of that this is a good opportunity for our railroad to match the Pennsylvania Railroad with the Alleghenies, the Jersey Central with the Jersey Shore, all the other areas of the world with nature. So they marketed the Poconos on their line. Wow, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful view. All steam locomotives have well, it's coming on a Dixon City Fire Station.
The neat thing that's going to happen is before we get to Scranton, if you remember when we first left, we went down that really steep hill. Guess what? We have to go back up it, which means that steam engine is really going to be working and putting on a show. So where you guys are sitting, as much as the whistle is deafening, you're going to really hear the steam engine come alive, the sounds of it shuffling and working as we go up that hill. So Engineer Brian is known for
just in case of breakdown.
Has that happened before?
No, but it's a good fail-safe.
Okay.
One thing that you might notice about the high rail.
Hold on, I know. So, just so you guys know, we are going to be coming up on the hill that we have to climb to get back up to Steamtown.
Yep.
We're pretty much below elevation right now. That's called Strawberry Hill, but you really got to open the engine up.
Oh man, oh, yeah, let's see those. I see the
Slight chance you might see that.
Don't.
Actually, and they're already opening it up. Keep an eye outside. Enjoy the sound. We'll be back to Scranton shortly.
wheels slipping, and there's ambers flying.
Yeah.
There's soot flying everywhere. What goes up must come down. I got some soot on my fingers. Got some soot on my fingers. Whoa, what the?
Everybody in Scranton would like to wish you all a happy Saturday. I live in West Scranton. My God.
What did we hit? A torpedo?
Oh, yeah. Good morning. So if you hear that bang like that, don't worry. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to gauge where we are. Oh, we haven't even gone through on torch yet. Okay. One sec. See all those big buildings right there? Those are the old shops for the electric pole company.
No, but we're way closer than I thought we were.
If you look out the window over there, you'll see a giant grocery store. I don't know if it's really big. I mean, that's yeah. That was the bond storage hall. There used to be a pile of coal up there so big you showed up on top of that.
Wheel slip.
Wheels slipping, and there's ambers flying.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
because we don't usually climb up very big hills around here. But yeah, I'm glad it got to put a bit of a show on for you. This is the only time we run the thing after dark.
What about danger adventure sports?
Well, here in the east, since it never stops raining, we're not too concerned about that. But out west, it is a major concern. Some steam engines out west will have a smart rescue on there, which is basically like a mesh cover around a small stack. And it's, the idea is to catch the embers before they go out in the air. But in recent years, even that's not enough. So most steam engines operating in the west are converting to oil. So they burn oil in the smoke from the firebox instead of coal. Oil doesn't convert up, it doesn't create solid embers that come out of it. So that way it lessens the chances of a wildfire.
You have a track?
Huh?
You have a track?
Wow. What a show. Wow, what a show. What a show.
All right, guys. So, as you've learned, yell a lot. But we are once again crossing Lackawanna Avenue, which means we are just about back to Steamtown. We are right about at the end of our. So as you, now is a good time to look around the train, take inventory of your belongings, make sure you have all your bags, cameras, anything that you brought with, make sure the kids are rounded up, all that stuff. But please don't stand yet, because we do still have some switching to do. We're going to have to go back in over Bridge 60, we're going to have to do the zigzag again, and then we'll pull back into the platform. I'll let you guys know when it's safe to stand and disembark the train. Obviously, because it is so late, Steamtown is closed. So once you guys disembark the train, we're going to ask you to head to your cars and depart the park. So no nice way to say that, sorry. But yeah, just so you guys are aware of that. But anyway, I will be back on the air coming. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the ride. Well, here in the east, since it never stops raining, we're not too concerned about that. But out west, it is a major concern. Some steam engines out west will have a smart rescue on there, which is basically like a mesh cover around a smokestack. And it's, the idea is to catch the embers before they go out in the air. But in recent years, even that's not enough. So most steam engines operating in the U.S. are converting to oil. So they burn oil in the smoke in the firebox instead of coal. Oil doesn't convert up, doesn't create solid embers that come out of it. Yeah. So that way it lessens the chances of a wildfire.
You have to switch the track?
Huh?
You have to switch track?
We're going to have to switch a couple of times.
Wow. What a show.
Wow, what a show.
What a show.
Alright guys, so as you've learned, yell a lot, but we are once again crossing Lackawanna Avenue, which means we are just about back to Steamtown. So we are right about at the end of our. Train, take inventory of your belongings, make sure you have all your bags, cameras, anything that you brought with, make sure the kids are rounded up, all that stuff. But please don't stand yet, because we do still have some switching to do. We're going to have to go back in over Bridge 60, we're going to have to do the zigzag again, and then we'll pull back into the platform. I'll let you guys know when it's safe to stand and disembark the train. Obviously, because it is so late, Steamtown is closed. So once you guys disembark the train, we're going to ask you to head to your cars and depart the park. So no nice way to say that, sorry. But yeah, just so you guys are aware of that. But anyway, I will be back on the air coming. Thank you. Enjoy the rest. rest of the ride.
Oh, that's beautiful. Give a round of applause for this.
They gotta put it back in the yeah, they're gonna take it out there. Those guys probably got another hour and a half to work. Yeah, really? Wow. Well, they didn't come on for that. So, 3:45 this morning, but they only have to work. They're not allowed to work a day longer than a certain point. Because of our regulations. So they're guys. So they didn't come in. So they still got like an hour and a half working day, but they're not.
Tomorrow, when you unload.
Oh, I'm unloading this tonight. Because I gotta go tomorrow.
Okay, after you do it for the computer, can you hand off the chip to me?
We'll see about that.